Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. It's Brittany here with another video to help you guys live a happy, healthy, awesome life in a wheelchair. And today, I am stuck sitting on the couch, awkwardly leaning off of my right butt cheek because I have a red mark that I don't want to get any redder. So I am chilling on the couch, and while I am here, I thought I would record a YouTube video for you guys all about intimacy with a disability. I get lots of questions about sex with a disability specifically, and I know that a lot of people are curious about this topic. I'm going to be doing some other videos on sex with a disability, and I wanted to answer get these questions out of the way first that I get asked a lot, so that you guys aren't wondering that when you're watching the other videos. So the 5 most common questions that I get asked about sex with a disability are: number 1, can I feel sex? Number 2, can I have an orgasm? Number 3, is sex enjoyable for me? Number 4, have I ever had an accident during sex? And number 5, am I ever worried that my husband is not fulfilled by our sex life because I am not able-bodied? So those are the 5 questions that I get asked the most and that I thought I would answer before I do any other videos on sex, just so that you guys aren't curious about them. So starting with number 1, can I feel sex? The answer to that question is no, sadly. I am paralyzed from the chest down. I'm a complete injury, and therefore I have no sensation or mobility below my level of injury, other than bladder sensation, which is super weird because it's in that same area. I can feel when I have to pee, but I cannot feel anything else in my genital area. So I cannot feel sex. And it doesn't really bother me that much because I didn't know what sex felt like before. I was injured at 13. So I didn't have sex before my injury, and so I don't really know what I'm missing. So yeah, I can't feel sex, but it's not that big of a deal to me. Number 2, can I have an orgasm? The answer to that, can I have an orgasm, is probably yes. I know that women who are paralyzed, I have friends who are paralyzed, and they are able to still have an orgasm even if they can't feel their genital area. And this is because women's genital area and orgasm specifically are innervated by the vagus nerve, which is comes outside, like is totally bypassed by the spinal cord entirely. So it doesn't go through your spinal cord. It's on the outside of it, comes right from your brain straight down. And so even women who are paralyzed that don't have genital sensation can still have an orgasm. Have I ever had an orgasm? Is the real question, I guess. And the answer to that one is no. I've never had an orgasm. I probably could if I spend enough time experimenting and trying, but at this point in my life, it just hasn't been a priority. I always have 2 kids in the house. I'm really busy, and so it's just not something that I think about on a daily basis. Do I want to have an orgasm? I'm not really sure. I don't know. I've never had one, so I don't know what I'm missing with that either. Probably if I did have one, I'd be like, hell yes, I don't want to ever give this up. But yeah, I'm not really sure whether that's something that I need to have in my life or not. But no, I've never had an orgasm. Someday, maybe I will try harder at having one and, get to experiment with that. But for now, it's a no. Number 3, is sex enjoyable for me? So if I can't feel sex and I've never had an orgasm, is it even enjoyable for me? Of course it is. I love to have sex. I love being close with my husband. It's a lot of an imagination game for me. So I fantasize a lot about certain things. And it's super enjoyable for me. I have other areas of my body that I find are erogenous and that I get pleasure from. So it's completely enjoyable. I love having my back tickled. I love getting massaged. So yes, the answer to number 3 is yes, I do enjoy sex. Okay. And then number 4, have I ever had an accident during sex? The answer to that question is yes, I have had an accident during sex. I've had a pee accident. I've never had a poop accident, knock on wood. And it wasn't really that big of a deal. It's a warm, wet liquid, and there's already warm, wet liquids going on when you're having sex. The most annoying thing, really, when I've had a pee accident during sex is the cleanup. Because it's really, I don't know, my husband didn't find it that gross, other than having to clean up after. But yeah, it didn't really faze him, and it wasn't like devastating for me either. I just realized I peed after because I didn't even really notice until after. But then when like the bed is soaked, or you know the blue pad that I'm on is soaked, then I'm like, oh, I must have peed. So it's more just oh, that happened and not a big deal. So yes, I've had a pee accident, never had a poop accident, but I have had friends that have had poop accidents. And surprisingly, it's not that big a deal. You would always think that these things are going to be like devastating, but they're not. It would be the same. I think it would be similar to like if a guy like farted during sex or something. It's probably embarrassing for him, but it's not like the end of the world. And you're still going to love the guy, especially if you're like married. You're not going to be like, oh, never again. I can't stand you. Because that's just not how things go when you're married and when you love somebody. So yes, I've had a pee accident, and it wasn't that big of a deal. Okay, last question. Am I ever afraid that my husband is unfulfilled with our sex life because I am not able-bodied? When I was first in the relationship with my husband, yes, I did think that. I never, I don't know if it was so much that I thought that he was going to be unfulfilled. I thought that other women would think he was unfulfilled. And I used to get so crazy when I would think that other women would want to like fulfill that part of his life for him, especially because I believe my husband is an amazing guy. So I think that other women would think he's a catch too. And if they find out that he's with a woman in a wheelchair, like, oh, I thought maybe they'd feel sorry for him and be like, oh, he must have such a hard life, and you know, he must not be fulfilled sexually. And like, I thought all of these things people would be thinking, and they might be thinking that, they totally might be thinking that, but I had to come to terms with that, and I stopped worrying about it, because the only person that I need to worry about trusting is my husband. I realized that the only person that I can control is me. I can't even control my husband. If he wanted to cheat on me because he was unfulfilled, he would go and cheat on me. So I choose to trust that he's fulfilled, that he would tell me if he was not fulfilled. And I need to just have confidence in myself, and I need to control my own emotions and thoughts, because you can think a million things all day long, and the more you think certain things, whether they're negative or positive, those things will grow, and then you will have emotions to match them. And when I used to think all the time that women are going to want to take him away from me because they're going to feel sorry for him and they're going to think he's unfulfilled, then that made me have negative emotions, and the negative emotions actually got in the way of our relationship, which wasn't helpful, and then that would just make the situation worse. So I started thinking, you know, positive thoughts that like I'm beautiful, and that like all of these things that like I needed for my own self-confidence, and I couldn't rely on anybody else to give me that self-confidence. I had to just do it for myself, so that those negative thoughts weren't there. I think the best way to like combat those negative emotions and thoughts is to replace them with positive ones and work on your own self-confidence, because the more whole and fulfilled you can become as a person, the more whole and fulfilled your relationship is going to be. Another thing that I did around that was be confident enough to experiment and have fun in the bedroom with intimacy, because I, you know, for many years was like, oh, I can't really do much, but you can't do anything if you don't try. So that's another thing that like I would really suggest if you're having some of those thoughts about like whether, you know, you can be a fulfilling partner, is just being confident enough to go into the bedroom and just have fun and try new things, so that you know what you can do and what you can't do. And most of the time you're going to find that you can do a lot more than you think, which is what I found. So that was a long, super rambly answer to, am I ever afraid that my husband is unfulfilled because I am not able-bodied? So yeah, those are my answers to the most common questions I get around intimacy with a disability. I hope they were helpful to you. If you have any other questions about sex with a disability, for me specifically, or just about spinal cord injury and sex in general, leave them in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. If I get a whole bunch of questions, I will do another video just like this one and answer them. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you next time on another video. Bye, guys.